Hard work should be recognized, but for introverts, it often isn't. Introverts often believe that their work should speak for itself. Quiet cheers to you. If you're new here, welcome to Antonia's Blissful Corner, where we embrace the quiet side of life. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you. Today, we're talking about something that might hit close to home. Why do introverts quit their jobs? If you have ever felt stuck, invisible, or like your workplace just doesn't get you, you're not alone. This is part one of a two-part series, and in this video, I'll share 5 reasons why introverts quit their jobs. These reasons might feel all too familiar, but my goal is to not only share relatable insights, but to also help you navigate these challenges with grace and confidence. I'll sprinkle in a bit of my own journey along the way, and I encourage you to reflect on your experiences as you watch. Let's dive right in. Reason one, feeling invisible. What's the point of working hard if no one notices? For introverts, feeling invisible at work is all too common. We tend to stay focused, work quietly, and avoid unnecessary chatter, but that often means our efforts aren't acknowledged. It's not because we're not doing amazing work, it's because traditional workplaces often reward loudness over thoughtfulness. During the pandemic, this issue got worse. In remote meetings, it's easy to get drowned out by those who speak up more often. You might think, why do I need to interrupt just to be heard? And so our contributions get overlooked. For me, there are many times when, whether it's in a workspace or on Zoom or Teams, where I try to contribute, but there's so many people talking and I just shut down. Like I just stop listening, I stop participating because it just gets overwhelming. There's also been times when I've contributed in a team assignment, but the person who chooses to deliver the message to the masses forget to say we and just say I. And it annoys me because it's like, okay, well, you're going to get the credit when in the end, it was all of us. So this is where we have to learn how to advocate for ourselves and to speak up. A Slack report found that 45% of remote workers feel disconnected from their teams. For introverts, this disconnect can feel like fading into the background, which leads to frustration and eventually the decision to leave. If you have ever felt invisible, here's your challenge. Find a way to ensure your contributions are seen. It could be as simple as sending an email after a meeting to highlight your thoughts or asking for feedback directly. Remember, being seen doesn't mean being loud, it means being intentional. Reason two, overstimulation leads to burnout. For introverts, overstimulation isn't just uncomfortable, it is overwhelming. Imagine trying to concentrate in a loud, open office while constant chatter and ringing phones bombard your brain. That was the norm pre pandemic, and it was exhausting. Post pandemic, overstimulation didn't disappear, it just took on a new form. Now, it's endless virtual meetings, constant notifications, and blurred lines between work and home life. A Gallup study revealed that 77% of employees have experienced burnout. For introverts, this often stems from environments that demand too much of their energy without giving them time to recharge. Due to the demands of month end close, there are times when it can become a little bit overwhelming due to the um, deadlines and the various people that wants everything right now. And I had to learn how to manage that because it's easy to basically fall into that downward spiral of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like, oh my God, I can't. And so for me, it was very necessary to find a way to protect my peace and to protect my energy. Whether it was choosing to just not respond to emails, and it's not that I'm ignoring them, but I can only do one thing at a time. And I'm from the school of I'm not going to open an email unless I can attend to it right now. And I had to learn how to just be okay with certain things, be okay with managing my time and pushing back when necessary, because you can't really produce efficiently if you're feeling overwhelmed and if you burn out, because then you're just going to get frustrated and be like, I'm not doing this. And I had to basically learn how to manage my time and manage people. Protecting your energy is key. Start by setting small boundaries like blocking off time on your calendar for uninterrupted focus time or stepping away from your desk for a quick break. These small steps can make a big difference. Reason three, struggling to build connections. Team bonding exercises are supposed to be fun, right? Not if you're an introvert. Introverts aren't antisocial, but we connect differently. For us, building connections is about depth, not quantity. We value meaningful one on one conversations over superficial small talk or forced group activities. Pre pandemic, things like team building exercises and networking events often felt awkward and draining. Now, with more remote work, the challenge is different. Introverts might prefer the quiet of working from home, but the lack of face to face interaction might lead to feelings of isolation. Research from Buffer found that 21% of remote workers cite loneliness as their biggest challenge. For introverts, this isolation is amplified because we're naturally more selective about the connections we pursue. This is always a challenge for me. Every time I start a new job, it's the most uncomfortable feeling. It's very awkward and it feels as if like I'm the new person for an extended period of time. But it's because I don't know how to connect with people. Um, and unless someone comes and says hello to me or say, hey, do you want me to, show you around or whatever, it just doesn't happen. And so it's a longer process for me. Now, once you get acclimatized, that can also be a challenge because then people are already clicky and I don't like clicks. And I had to learn how to just exist in a space and not have connections per se. Now, the reality of it is healthy and natural to have good working relationships, but sometimes people can be toxic. And so you have to be the one to, know how to manage that. The reality of it is it isn't easy to connect with people, but it's necessary. Building connections doesn't have to mean being someone that you're not. And it certainly isn't about forcing you to network. Focus on creating one, maybe two strong relationships at work. Send a quick check in message or schedule a quick chat. Connection happens in small, meaningful steps. Reason number four, misaligned values. You cannot thrive in a job that doesn't align with who you are. Have you ever worked for a company that didn't align with your values? Maybe it was an environment that felt too competitive, a lack of diversity, or leadership decisions that didn't quite sit right with you. Pre pandemic, it was easier to ignore these misalignments. It was easy to push aside your personal values for the sake of a paycheck. But when the world paused, we were forced to reflect on what really matters. For introverts, this reflection can hit harder. We're naturally introspective, and working in an environment that doesn't feel authentic can be emotionally draining. A 2022 LinkedIn study found that 63% of employees cited misaligned values as a reason for their leaving their jobs. Introverts who often seek purpose in their work are even more likely to feel disconnected. When I look back, I realized that when I was younger, I used to make some very bold moves. One of those bold moves was leaving a job without having another lined up. Now, I was at this company for almost 10 years, but we were merging. And what I experienced was the company coming in, their methods didn't align with what I was accustomed to. And there are certain things that I experienced and witnessed, and I decided that, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that. So I sat and I thought about, like what would make sense for me at this time. And this is coming off of me working, full time as a manager, but then also going to school part time in the evenings. I already was experiencing burnout, and I decided, you know what? This isn't for me. So I chose to leave because I felt that at that time, that was the best option. Now, I wouldn't say leave a job without having another, but sometimes you get to that point where you have to make a decision as to what is best. So if you feel like your values do not align with your workplace, start by reflecting on what truly matters to you. What's one small change that you can make to bring more of those values into your work? Number five, lack of recognition. Hard work should be recognized, but for introverts, it often isn't. Introverts often believe that their work should speak for itself, and it should. But in reality, workplaces tend to reward those who are vocal and actively highlighting their contributions about their achievements. Pre pandemic, this often left introverts overshadowed by louder colleagues. Post pandemic, remote work has made it even easier to go unnoticed. A Work Human survey found that 81% of employees would work harder if they felt appreciated. For introverts, this lack of recognition can feel deeply personal, leading to disengagement and ultimately a decision to leave. Now, this is something that can happen easily because introverts are quiet, we tend to be overlooked. I've been overlooked and basically documented what I've done, if it's an assignment that was assigned to me, or if something that I chose to take on myself, because it is necessary for management to recognize that you are doing your part and then some. Because, the reality of it is, because we're quiet, we're not ones to go and say, hey, I did this and hey, I did that, because we expect that they will notice it and give us the proper credit. But unfortunately, it just doesn't happen that way. Here's your challenge: find one small way to advocate for yourself this week. It could be sharing a success in a team meeting or sending your manager a quick update on your progress. Self advocacy doesn't have to feel forced, it's about reminding others of the value that you bring. Small steps build confidence. So, there you have it. These are the first of 5 reasons why introverts quit their jobs. Any of these reasons struck a chord with you? I'd love to hear about your experiences or thoughts in the comments section below. When you tell your story, you can connect with others who understand what you're going through. But wait, before you go, don't forget to check out my book, Unlocking the Introvert, a pocket guide to understanding and interacting with introverts. It's available on my website, societyofintroverts.com, and online anywhere books are sold. This book is for anyone seeking to better understand themselves or their introverted loved ones. Chapter 5 is actually about working with an introvert. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Antonia's Blissful Corner and turn on your notifications so that you do not miss part 2 of why introverts quit their jobs. Together, we will continue exploring how to thrive in a blissful, authentic way, because being an introvert is not a limitation, it's a strength. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.